I'm not the one who admitted they would be okay with killing babies in foster care and killing children that have been abused.
That's not the point. What I'm saying.
That's really.
Oh, but that's stop telling me.
What's wrong with you?
Stop telling me. Stop my.
You have a.
Oh my god. She just punched me in the face. We were just doing a street interview with my camera and everything was fine for over 20 minutes or however long we were filming, and then she just punched me in the face.
Savannah Craven, really craving for attention and of my name, so I really have to mention that you's a lame, but really this your lane. You doing interviews but trying to make people look insane while they're saying what they're saying, and really I don't get it though. She said, where did it go wrong? But the girl antagonized me for like 20 minutes long, and I'm still standing strong, got my city here behind me, and all of a sudden she act like she was trying to find me. Once she got my at, the girl blocked me on all that, so I couldn't see the defamatory things she's been saying behind my back. And yeah, it's really tragic. I'm really sorry that I had to let her have it, but it really gets like that in these New York streets. How dare you come around trying to rage bait me? You don't know me from a hole in the wall, trying to sit here and stand on your 10 like you're tall. I am not with that shit. Hate it had to be you, but...
All right, guys, so we got to follow up on a video that went viral earlier this year featuring Miss Savannah Craven, who is a pro-life conservative activist who does street interviews, right? She interviews people on the street, talk to them about subjects like abortion, okay? And in this particular interview, featuring a large, grotesque black woman, the argument was about abortion, and the abortion argument got very heated, and the woman decided to sucker punch Miss Savannah Craven in the face on camera, okay? And that video went super duper duper viral. And we have to follow up on this story because it seems as if Miss Savannah Craven is not going to get justice thanks to a Democrat DA who apparently is okay with conservative activists being punched in the face on camera, okay? And I want to talk about it because in the immediate aftermath of this incident, the suspect, the assaulter, she tried to play the victim card, right? It was, oh, woe is me, I'm the real victim here because I rightfully got backlash for sucker punching a conservative activist, a pro-life activist in the face doing an interview. Take a look.
The light that Savannah is shining me in is so false. I am so polite and friendly. I'm not volatile. It really takes a lot, you know, for anything like this to come out of me. I'm very upset that I allowed this woman to railroad me into becoming so angry. I would have declined speaking with her had she led with the interview's premise, or had I known that Savannah's entire rhetoric is to rage bait, infiltrate, and manipulate people that she invites on her platform to interview and then forces her ideologies down their throats. I'm sorry. I wrote something down just because I didn't want to miss any of these points, and I don't want my words or anything else to you know, just turn it to something else. Yeah, so she professionally rage baited me. Then, yeah, this video, as of now, has altered my life drastically. The internet is literally making me a political martyr. Savannah has controlled this narrative definitely for too long. People are calling me a leftist and a delusional Democrat. I am being cyberbullied and body shamed by not only Savannah, but her thousands of supporters.
Yeah. So once again, we have the same pattern of behavior from the same type of people. You see the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. It is actually the assaulter, right? It's the criminal, okay? That is the real victim, okay? Not the woman that was punched in the face, that was sucker punched for simply giving an interview. No, she's not the real victim, okay? Again, the assaulter is the real victim because she's rightfully getting backlash for sucker punching a woman in the face, right? To the point where she was bloody on the streets of New York. And unfortunately, that is part of the reason why it seems as if Miss Savannah Craven may not get justice for what happened to her on camera, okay? Because it seems as if woke DA Alvin Bragg has went out of his way to make sure that this case is not prosecuted, right? And that is why Miss Savannah Craven is speaking out, because it appears as if the charges against her assaulter have been dropped. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
On April 3rd, 2025, I, Savannah Craven Antao, was brutally assaulted in the streets of Harlem while conducting interviews on Planned Parenthood. The entire shocking interaction was caught on camera by my husband, leaving no doubt that the assailant, Brianna Rivers, was not only guilty of aggravated assault, but also exulting over her own vicious criminal act. Rivers was arrested and reportedly charged with felony assault. But after an interview with 2 prosecutors, I was informed that the felony had been downgraded to a misdemeanor. Wow. Despite indisputable video evidence of brutal assault and battery, producing significant injury, trauma, and resulting in over $3,000 in medical bills. Over the next few weeks, the office of the New York District Attorney, Alvin Bragg, infamous for its 2-tiered system of justice that favors criminals over victims, failed to pursue the case. On July 23rd, 2025, I find out the prosecution simply allowed this misdemeanor to be dismissed on speedy trial grounds, apparently due to the prosecution's failure to file a certificate of readiness. I was never advised by the prosecution that my case had essentially been abandoned. As a matter of fact, the prosecutor assigned to handle my case isn't even admitted to the New York bar, just an inexperienced law school graduate. Yet he was able to handle my case under a student practice rule, which is supposed to apply to only very minor offenses. Prior to the dismissal, the prosecutors failed to communicate with me and with my lawyers, and the failure to communicate continued after my lawyers intervened on my behalf to try and find out how this case could be dismissed. To this day, my lawyers and I have received 0 reply, despite multiple text messages, emails, and phone calls. It is inconceivable that a violent assault case such as this, one that received widespread media attention, including that shocking video, would be put into the hands of somebody not even admitted to the New York bar, who then allowed for the case to be dismissed. It is hard to avoid the conclusion that this case was deliberately sabotaged. To this day, my assailant, Brianna Rivers, continues to show 0 remorse and make jokes about her act of violence toward me and other pro-lifers. I do not want clicks, fame, or sympathy for what happened to me. I want justice for the countless pro-life and conservative activists that go out and peacefully stand up for what they believe in. And justice for the thousands of preborn children who will be aborted today, tomorrow, and the next. No one on either side of the aisle should experience physical violence for using their First Amendment right. Shame on you, Alvin Bragg.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. It really is a shame. It really is a shame. And, you know, I would say this is a clear-cut example of weaponization, because I ultimately believe that it is, right? I believe that this case was sabotaged for political reasons, because apparently Democrats, liberal media, the left, they decided that violence against conservatives is okay, right? So I think that for that reason, this probably was sabotage for political reasons. But at the same time, this is also just another example of how these soft on crime policies in New York City work, right? When you have an assault on camera, okay, this woman punched Savannah Craven in the face to the point where Savannah's face was bloody. I mean, this is on camera. This is not even alleged, right? This is just what happened, right? This is just a statement of fact. There's no stronger evidence that you could have for an assault case than something like this, and it gets dropped, right? First and foremost, it got dropped from a felony to a misdemeanor, right? Which also in and of itself is, again, just an absolute travesty, right? Again, part of the reason why crime is out of control in these liberal cities, right? And then they turn around and say, oh, crime is down, crime is down. Well, again, when you have a clear-cut assault on a woman's face on camera and then the case gets dismissed, does that get counted as a part of the crime statistics, right? Now, again, if this happened to Savannah Craven, now, again, I know that this probably happened for political reasons, but again, you got to keep in mind, these people are also soft on crime, okay? So how many times have this happened in other cases as well, too, where somebody has committed a serious crime like this, and then it gets dropped down to a misdemeanor, and then ultimately is dismissed? Does that show up in the crime statistics? Seriously, like that's actually a question. That's a serious question. Like, does that show up in the crime statistics? Does this felony assault show up? And the reason why I'm asking this question, because these people run around claiming that crime is down, crime is down, crime is down. But if you're not prosecuting the crime, if you're not going after the crime, if you're not counting the crime, then how do you know that, right? How do you know that? Again, these numbers are bullshit. They're bullshit. And I think stories like this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is an example of how the soft on crime criminal justice system works in places like New York City. You can be caught on camera assaulting somebody in the face to the point where they are bloody, and you can still get away with it. You can still go free, right? There will be no accountability from the local government. Especially, again, if you assault a conservative, okay? And this is especially bad in the wake of what happened to Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated by a far-left lunatic. This woman, a far-left lunatic, showing us once again, these people are prone to violence. Savannah did nothing wrong at all. She was having conversations with people on the street. If you don't want to have a conversation, then just don't talk to the person. You don't have to talk to the person. You can walk away, right? That's what's low-key pissing me off about so many of these individuals who are so upset about conservatives having these conversations at college campuses and on the streets. They're saying, well, you guys are here to harass us. It's like nobody's harassing you. You have the option, you have the freedom to not engage. If a conservative speaker or a conservative activist comes to your city or your college campus and they set up a booth or they want to interview or whatever, you don't have to do the interview. You can keep it moving. You can keep walking. But they should never be assaulted or killed, assassinated for their free speech. And we'll continue to see this over and over and over again. And the fact that justice is not being served in this situation when the assault is on camera. There's undisputable proof, okay, that this happened. It's a damn shame. It really shows you that these people don't care. These Democrats don't care what happens to conservatives. Because in their minds, people like Savannah Craven, like Charlie Kirk, well, they deserve it. They deserve it because they have political opinions that we don't like, right? So therefore, again, they deserve when violence happens to them. And I think that is the message that Alvin Bragg sent when he decided that, you know what, we're not going to go after this. Who cares if it was on video? We're going to let this woman walk free because, hey, we don't like Savannah Craven's opinions, right? Again, it's a damn shame. So when you talk about a two-tier justice system, I don't want to hear a damn thing from the people that support criminals like Alvin Bragg, because that's what he is. That's what he is. He weaponized the government to go after President Trump, campaigned on it, and now he's showing us, yeah, I don't care if conservative activists, Trump supporters, get assaulted on the streets of New York. It's free for all, right? That's the type of precedent that's being set here, right? It's a free for all on conservatives. So again, I think that's the message being sent. I really do. And as conservatives, we need to pay attention. We need to understand that these people don't care about our protection. They don't believe that individuals who commit acts of violence should be held accountable. In fact, they celebrate it. And I think this is another example of what I'm talking about. So I don't know at this point what can be done about this. So maybe at this point, it might be time for the federal government to step in and to get some accountability, right? That might be what needs to happen here. I'm not entirely sure exactly how much could be done, but something has to be done. This woman can't be allowed to get away with this, right? You can't be allowed to just assault somebody on camera for the world to see, and then there's no accountability whatsoever. No, we can't live in a country like that. No. We cannot live in a country like that. So I'm just saying that, who knows? Again, hopefully the federal government will step in if local and state prosecutors refuse to do anything about this. Because, again, you can't just assault somebody on camera like that and get away with it and walk free. for political reasons. That's crazy to me. It really is a shame. The country that we're living in, some sections of our country that just allow this type of overt violence against conservatives. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.